Welcome to this latest Leading with Purpose podcast. This time, I'm delighted to be able to be joined by Lisa Dolan. She's Regional VP of Employee Experience. She could talk about the very diverse region that she covers, but it's for a global digital business services company called TP. Lisa, we're really proud that TP is part of the Purpose Coalition, but why don't we start just explaining the region you cover, your role, and then I'd like to dig into your journey to where you are now.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, and it's great to be here. So, my journey as Regional VP of Employee Experience for our UKISA region. So, our region is made up of the UK, Ireland, and Sub Saharan Africa, which includes South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, and Ghana. Very much, we always say it's a mouthful saying UKISA, but we've tried to make it as short as possible for people to be able to understand. So, our region and the role that I play very much has been shaped by a real deep passion for people and for the purpose of engaging and wanting people to come to work and to thrive obviously, within the world of work. I've always believed that if people are heard and seen and listened to and they feel supported, the business will thrive as well. And in my role looking after the region, it's an absolute privilege to not only lead a team across very different cultures, because the UK and Ghana are so different in terms of cultures, but also in terms of skill set. But what's amazing is to see those cultures thrive and come alive, and actually the strengths that each of those countries bring to our amazing region.
And I get within Africa, it's a bit like within Europe, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Talked about, Kenya, East Africa, Nigeria, West Africa, just very different places with different cultures.
Absolutely. And my focus overall is creating a consistent, inclusive, engaging experiences for our employees that more than anything empower our people to do the best work that they want to be able to do. And as I said, that then means happy employees, mean happy customers, mean a happy business and a happy workforce. So yeah, it's an absolute privilege to do what I do for the region.
And so your journey here, I guess, like most people's careers, wasn't necessarily a particularly super planned one, but actually you are now in a role where you really make the difference in, I mean, thousands of employees' lives, literally
Yeah,
today. So
yeah.
tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, so very much the BPO contact center industry type that I obviously work in as part of TP has always been a little bit of the accidental career, and very much it has been an accidental career for me. So I left university having done a media and communications degree and thought I need to do something. I need to do something quite quick. So started as an agent working on the frontline phones for a utilities line of business, and then very quickly realised that I love the pace, I love the dynamics, I love the interaction, I love the energy within this industry. So moved into various different roles throughout the organisation at
We
various
can dig
different
into that a
organisations.
little bit more, actually.
Yeah.
So what was it that you loved? Is it how it's different every day? Because some people would think, "Oh, I'm not sure whether, almost a bit scared of dealing with Joe Public or a career that faces that way. But it's clearly something you thrived on. So just explain why you love it.
Yeah, so I love it because every day is different.
Hmm.
Every day for me and for my team, we get the opportunity to make people smile. We get the opportunity to, I always say it, spread kindness and sprinkle the fairy dust. And I think for me, because the industry is ever changing, where it was 20 years, 20 plus years ago when I joined it, is very different to where it is now. And actually, the level of opportunities and growth that people have within this industry is phenomenal and would take others in other industries 20 years to progress through, whereas within this industry, you can progress within a 12-month period.
You could be really entrepreneurial, take the initiative, and actually you can get into leading a team quickly. You get tech piece of it, which we'll come on to.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're really sort of at that cutting edge in many respects of this sector.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's a very fast paced, as I said, but what's great is the rewards and the recognition for the work that you do is amazing.
And I think the consequence of all of that is that it's a business where people want to stay,
Mhm.
and you've ended up with just a longevity of the workforce that's staggering. I
Yeah.
think it literally ranges from, someone who's just out of school, 17, to people in their 80s. Tell us a little bit about, in practice then, what that actually means. I mean, it's phenomenal to think you can have people born, well, let's think about it, yeah, you know, 1940s,
Yeah.
alongside people who weren't even born when the millennium happened.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that's one. So the generations and us having 5 generations working together is probably one of the things I love most about TP. I think the richness of having those 5 generations working side by side,
Mhm.
from those colleagues that are just starting us out of school to those that have been with us for decades, and we've got some people that have been here for 40, 45 years working, obviously, for the organisation. I think what makes it special is everybody learns from each other.
Mhm.
Everybody supports each other. We use a lot of data and a lot of feedback and storytelling across the various generations to what matters most within those generations. And then we try and tailor what we do to be able to help each of those generations in there, whether it be benefits, whether it be communication styles. And what we've learned is because of the different generations, everybody values each other's opinion and everybody feels like they have a sense of purpose, which is really, really amazing.
And so one of the things I always found in politics was, again, it's very generational. Some of your closest people, closest friends
Mhm.
might be out campaigning with maybe a
Yeah.
lot older than
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And I think most of the time in life, you just tend to spend it with people who are probably your age.
Mhm.
It is quite interesting for people to really get a sense of that different mindset, different skills, but also the fact that you can learn from people of all ages. I mean, and that's really, I don't know what you think, Lisa, but never been more true now. You've got this younger generation that is way more tech enabled, tech comfortable. But then, as you go up the age range, just a huge amount of experience
Mhm.
on change, on people, how people respond to all of that. And I guess what you're trying to do in your role is get the most out of that collective pool of talent and help it develop.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think what's nice about our teams is the engagement element. Very much in some organizations, the engagement element can be a bit of a nice to have, whereas actually for us at TP, very much it's the heartbeat of our culture. And the engagement side is really key. And everybody's got the option for digital upskilling, for mentoring programs. And again, regardless of their age and the generation they come from, everybody's got the opportunity.
And I think, I want to come on to some of that internal work you do on peer to peer
Mhm.
recognition.
Mhm.
But I think what's also interesting about your generations work is you're literally thinking upstream. So using Purpose Lab through the Purpose Coalition, actually now you're engaging people who haven't even started working for TP yet to almost give that forward look view of people who may well be employees, but haven't actually quite become them yet, which I think I'm not really, I think that is a new mentality in a sense on this, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. And ultimately, when we first started working with you with the Purpose Lab, rather than it just be a business regurgitating information and sharing it, and people just sat there, the students sat there, we wanted to give something back. And actually, those skills that we were never taught when we were at college and university, how can we as a business give some of those skills back to our future leaders? And that's why we designed the program that we're doing with the Purpose Lab in the way that we have, and being able to have the opportunity to mentor people as well is absolutely amazing.
And I should say for people watching or listening to this, that the way that Purpose Lab works, it's the universities that we work with and colleges, they're widening participation students. So students from very working class backgrounds, certainly as I was, and it brings them together with the businesses. to help them develop, learn about opportunities, get a sense of what these different companies are doing, but also then give the businesses some direct insight on what those generations want, what they think about, for example, TP's social impact work, the progression opportunities, etc. So it's a real win-win, isn't it, Lisa?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guess it's for everyone. But turning back to TP then and your work, so some of that peer-to-peer recognition I think really matters. You've put in place a lot of community networks. And actually it paints a picture of you setting up a system and like an ecosystem where people can very much support one another. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think for us, our so the peer-to-peer recognition side of stuff and the employee networks that we've got, the community networks, are really key because they are created for the people, but the people run them. So our colleagues run those sessions, and
Mhm.
actually bringing people together, whether they are part of a community or whether they want to just be part of an ally as part of that community is really, really key. And whether that's engagement activities or well-being initiatives, it's about creating those moments that matter for those individuals and having people have that ability to give peer-to-peer recognition in our programs that we do every single month is absolutely amazing. And the magical, we definitely do say it's the happiest Friday of the month by far. It's normally payday as well, but it's the happiest Friday of the month.
I suppose at the end of the day, it's twofold, isn't it? You've got to have all the programs to recognize people, to help people progress, develop their talent. But actually, there's such a big bit of this that is them learning from one another. And if tell you what, if you're on any MBA program, this is exactly like the whole point of MBA is you learn, but you're learning from everyone else. And actually, what you're doing is really proactively bringing together those internal networks for people to learn from everyone else. In doing so, actually get supported themselves. I mean, all of this is, it's not rocket science, is it, in a sense? But actually, I think, as you say, often it's been seen as a nice to have. When actually, if you're a people driven business, as TP is, actually doing this well is a super strength, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think these type of programs, they help make people feel connected, they feel appreciated, and more than anything, they feel supported. And especially in our industry, it's super, super fast paced, digital first world, very much so. And I think for for colleagues and people that work at TP, we've seen a real impact in the way that we do our recognition programs. And actually, it has higher morale, stronger retention, and it creates that proper true sense of belonging for our employees as well, which is amazing.
And just before we move on, tell me why you think they're special. The way you've designed them, it's much more employees reflecting on other employees that they feel have really shone. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, so absolutely it's that. And it could be anything. So the reason it's special is because we take all of our ideas and suggestions from our employees. So it's not just us sat there as a leadership team pulling together ideas. We go out, we constantly ask for feedback, constantly feedback to the business in like a you said we did type style. And actually, the programs have been designed by our colleagues in terms of what they wanted. And they wanted that open forum, that way to be able to say thank you to the people that help them, whether it's just through sheer kindness that somebody's helped them with a mental health crisis, or somebody's helped their local community with volunteering, or somebody's just, do you know what, been there as an extra pair of ears to listen to somebody's concerns. It's those things that many organizations don't recognize people for, whereas we absolutely do. It's our biggest category in terms of um from an employee engagement inspire awards is what we call it. It's our biggest category every single month, called caring people, and there are so many, there's hundreds and hundreds of nominations every single month, so it's incredible. That's why it's different.
And it's absolutely brilliant. And in the end, this is about saying that everybody can lead in
Hmm.
terms of how they conduct themselves and the care that they take of people around them, irrespective of whether they're leading that team or part of the team. And that actually is what makes the difference. And I think we've been in a world where maybe 10, 20 years ago, people would just rigidly focus on performance, but actually now there's much more understanding that it's that human piece of what you're bringing to work that really makes the difference for people being able to support a wider team, as I said, whatever role you're in. And I think it sort of brings us on to the Purpose Coalition role. I mean, TP has been such a leading voice within the Purpose Coalition, not just, if you like, on thinking through how to use Purpose Lab, but actually, as you're talking about, sharing some of these insights on breaking down barriers and creating the platform for success for employees. So tell us a little bit about what that sense of purpose means to you. And in a sense, he feels like in some ways, culturally, quite a fat organization, like a level filled organization, maybe. It feels like social mobility and this excitement about being able to make something of yourself in the business is a core part of what makes it tick.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's funny because ultimately purpose, so an individual's, the business purpose, sits within our DNA, key values that we have as a business and always have been, even since the chairman founded it in the late 70s. That social mobility side of things, as much as it was never called social mobility or social impact, it was always the CSR side of things, has always been at the heartbeat of everything that we do. So it's critical to the business and actually helps us stay focused on those communities that surround us, because ultimately those communities that surround us is where we can take talent, where we can build opportunity, and actually where we can collectively help break down some of those barriers. And we've got hundreds of stories of inclusive hiring elements, of career pathways, of community outreach programs that we've done, and not just from our region, but globally. Some of the stuff that the TP have done is absolutely phenomenal, and it's heartwarming in terms of how we create that workplace within, but also externally as well.
And, in my own experience working with TP as part of the Purpose Coalition, meeting some of the people that are now team leaders in Newcastle, the fact that they themselves are people who've been on a journey
Hmm.
and have had to get their skills supported by TP. But then once they're in the business, not only do they have a role, actually, they're people that are really able to relate to other people who are on the other end of the line. For example, some of the work you do with the DWP, and actually that makes them way more authentic and credible, sorting out those issues. So it's a better service when you're ringing up about some issue that you've got with your benefits, and the person on the end of the line is able to say, well, I completely understand that.
Yeah,
I've had that
yeah.
problem in the past too, and here's what we can now do about it.
Hmm.
I think it becomes a virtuous circle, doesn't it, Lisa, when you're able to provide the career progression, but actually it's for people themselves who appreciate why what they're doing matters to the people that are now their customers.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think what's really nice about TP is everybody has the opportunity to develop. Everybody has the opportunity for internal career progression and that skills development. So we use a phrase within the region, which is your success is our success. And we have got hundreds of stories of people that have started as agents, me being one, that are now in leadership roles that have moved through the organization, and actually to showcase to people that you may have started as an accidental career, but actually you can build a career within this industry. And I think for us as a business as well as TP is we've got those ties with local communities, with like what we're doing within the Gateshead area and starting it in Manchester. But for us as a business, I think because we invest in our learning platforms, we invest in mentorship, whether that's mentoring or reverse mentoring, and we've got that ability to be mobile internally. So people have got the opportunity to move to different lines of business, to different departments, and to get a taster of those departments as well. And again, all of that has come from feedback from our employees that we've then created programs and activities that obviously our people have wanted. But ultimately, it's about creating that for us, it's creating that culture where for us, people very much are encouraged to grow, they're encouraged to take risks. and actually their career, they can shape their own path based on what they want their career to look like.
I mean, let's just go on to the business imperative for this as well, because I mean, it's brilliant stuff. And, Britain faces a massive growth challenge. Britain will grow when its people can grow.
Mhm.
And TP is a business that focuses on that. But that's the business, isn't it, Lisa? Because there's a whole skill shortage, and businesses that are better at developing skills, better at giving great careers, get to hang on to great people, don't they? And so this is that it's like that virtuous circle we just talked about before. Why wouldn't you want to do this? And I think the big competition is going to be who can do it the best, really, isn't it? Not whether or not it matters. It absolutely does matter, doesn't it? For any business really today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's about for people and clients that we work with, very much it's about that added extra sparkle that we as TP can add, whether that be around social value, whether that be around the additional engagement activities or recognition work or the skills development that we've got and having that mobility. Very much it's the full rounded package.
Which is exciting. And in a sense, I think let's kind of switch a bit now to the bigger picture.
Mhm.
You and I were part of a round table that TP organised, looking at that either context is dramatically changing
Mhm.
with AI. I mean, it's happening. It's going to come through the business world and life like a tsunami. Actually,
Mhm.
it's worth giving your reflection on that, because actually you're in a tech-based industry, and so it's really at the sharp end of some of these changes. And I think interesting to tap into your sense of the impact it's going to make on TP, but for your employees, for customers. How do you see it?
Yeah, so for me, AI is so Gen AI specifically is helping transform the way we work. And we actually, as a business, see it as a huge opportunity. AI for us already is helping.
So, for people who don't understand what Gen AI is,
Mhm.
just explain what you mean by that.
Yeah, so what I mean by that is Gen AI in terms of helping us with repetitive tasks, enhancing our customer interaction. So being able to create that that space for our people to focus on more of the meaningful work. So rather than it be the repeat questions that are coming through or referencing sources of information, Gen AI will automate those tasks for us and give the employees that information a lot quicker than it would be to scroll through a 20-page document, for example.
So, a lot less of the one moment, please.
Yeah.
And, a tool, support tool for people at TP in this case that could say, well, they've just mentioned that. What about this? Or these stats on that are here. And here's what they need to do next with that kind of problem. So, really at your fingertips, advice and information and guidance for people so that they can actually be much more the human piece that they overlay on of that customer service, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with us focusing on more of the people side in terms of those interactions with our customers, for us, we are investing in upskilling our people to
Mhm.
help the teams build more of a digital and human skills for the future in terms of it's about getting that balance between AI and EI. And we need both to coexist and actually to
Emotional
work well.
intelligence and if you like, that very sophisticated sense of how to deal with people, how to kind of read, where they're at and all the stuff. Certainly as someone I've recruited people in my time, I was always looking for that.
Hmm.
Knowledge and skills bit, we'd always think, well, we could teach them what they need to know. But certainly for me as an MP, when I was looking for a case worker, and the way you described the satisfaction you got from being in your sector was exactly how I felt about helping people out when they got in touch with me about local things.
Hmm.
People I recruited to my team were the people I thought would really care about getting stuff fixed, that could understand the situations people were in.
Hmm.
Actually, I wanted them to be able to do more of that, not just to spend their whole time drafting emails. And I guess that's the difference. AI means that you can really bring out the best in people and have them focused on what their skills are best at, I guess.
Yeah, very much. It's not about replacing people, it's about empowering them. and
Mhm.
giving them additional tools to help make their jobs easier and to focus on the interactions that they're having with the customers very, very much.
Do you feel like it almost turbocharges careers in some respects because it's enabling people to do more earlier perhaps than they otherwise.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I use it daily, and it saved me. Well, I'd estimated it saved me 40 hours a week, and I work 40 hours a week. Well, supposed to work
It's
40
it's
hours a week.
made you twice as effective effectively.
Correct, because some of the mundane tasks that I had to do I've now managed to automate them, and some of the things I needed to do, I've now managed to use Gen AI to help me pull those things together. And actually, what's really great is it learns with you as you're going. So it learns your style, it learns how you write, it learns everything, which is absolutely incredible.
It is amazing, isn't it? And so in a sense, whilst the political debate, I think, will be very much around some of the threats of AI in terms of what it
Mhm,
means for jobs. Actually, the reality is there's a different side of it as well, which is people having way more interesting work, being able to feel like they get to the end of the week having had some much more interesting time at work,
mhm.
say, and have really been able to challenge themselves instead of if like going through the motions, which is maybe what they might feel a bit like they have to do today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's exciting.
Mhm,
So big changes on AI. And then, when you look at the other changes coming through in the future of work, I mean, obviously, COVID was a massive break almost, wasn't it? A reset of expectation. How do you see everything else, if you like, that's ahead? Flexible working. I mean, I think when we look back on this time, we're still in it, aren't we? We're not through
yeah,
the yet. I think
yeah.
we'll say it was just an incredible shift in the workplace that we just literally haven't seen, well, probably for decades at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for us, so if we look specifically at the team in the UK, we've still got circa 80% of our workforce that work from home, even now, five years on. So for us, very much the shifts that we're starting to see are around flexibility. People when they outside of the AI side of stuff very much want that to create to go to an organization where it's got purpose and they've got that opportunity to develop and to develop fast.
Yeah.
And actually people want to work, and we see this very much across generations, want to work for a company that aligns with their values and actually supports them and their lifestyles, not the opposite way around, i.e. you you work to live, not live to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very much there's there's that side of things. But then for us as a business, one of the things that we're seeing the shift in that we're obviously driving is all around the emotional intelligence, the EI stuff. So we've embedded the EI side as well as AI into the business with everything from leadership development all the way through to team engagement about equipping our staff with more understanding of self-awareness and communication skills and how to lead with compassion and lead with empathy, and actually doing that across all of our generations that we've got is proving really interesting, but actually is proving really powerful for us as an organization. And actually, we want everybody to manage from the heart. So the AI will give people the flexibility to be able to come out of those mundane tasks. But actually, then the EI skills will give everybody the opportunity to EI to become their little own superpower in terms of how they interact and how they engage with each other.
Yeah. Being the best human they can be in a sense. It's that bit,
Yeah,
what do you call it? The kind of pixie dust style piece
yeah,
that only a person can
yeah.
bring to the role. And I think it really is interesting. And, you know, it, it's such a different world, isn't it? When I was at the beginning of my career, it did feel much more top down.
Mhm.
And it was, you had to be thrusting and, sometimes it felt like it was a lot more who'd had a quick conversation with who and all of that. I think now, what you paint certainly for TP is a world where you take the initiative, you'll get the reward for that. And if you put time into developing your skills and that's what you want to do, again, you'll get the reward for that. And actually, the
Mhm.
organization's so big with so many different paths of people. Actually, you can kind of pick where you want to go because there's a world of careers at a tech business like TP, which is really, I think, really encouraging. And who wouldn't want to be part of that? But I guess for you, Lisa, you shape so much of this, and in a way, there's a bit of it that sometimes feels like it's got your very personal stamp on it. That sense of leading with purpose. So what does that phrase leading with purpose mean to you? It's something that I think you intuitively have, but there's a little bit more about how you see that.
So to me, very much leading with purpose is about being clear on your why in terms of what is it that you want to get out of coming to work for an organization like TP? What can TP do for you or any organization? It's about showing up and showing that a phrase that obviously I live by is be good, be nice, be kind. First and foremost to yourself and then to those that you interact with, because kindness and courage and integrity is everything. And actually for us from a TP point of view, if we lead with purpose, but if we embed purpose into everything that we do, we'll be successful as individuals, but also as a business as well. What we want everybody to feel at TP, and something that I'm very passionate about, is that they are part of something bigger. They're not just sitting on their line of business or in their department. They're actually part of a bigger team that are making a difference. We've got 11,000 people in the UK. We're spanning now nearly up 20,000 across the region, 500,000 people globally. That's a lot of employees and a lot of families and communities that then touches. So it's that side of things for me, which is about the embedding the purpose.
Yeah, and I think this sense that it is a community.
Hmm.
We spend a lot of time at work, and therefore the community does matter. And that's just a fact, isn't it? And so it's a choice about almost how empowered you want that community to be. It makes sense for TP, but actually it needs to feed people, doesn't it? And with a sense of self-worth.
Hmm.
And I think that's what a strong culture will do. It makes them feel they can achieve more individually, not just together. Why wouldn't we want people to have the chance to be able to do that? I personally think there's probably nothing more important than it in a way, because I just think it's at the core of what we all want as people, just to be able to develop our talents and then hopefully be able to use them, for good of everyone, not just ourselves. So for me, that's quite inspiring, to have companies like TP, part of the Purpose Coalition, that are working through that, because actually it's easier said than done, isn't it? Because everybody has to be able to lead to really make it a reality. You could set the tone and the board could set the tone, but actually the lived experience of people in TP isn't going to be bumping into you per se. It's the ability to have an entire organization that pulls in the same direction, which is what I think is special. I guess I want to finish off, Lisa, just coming back to you and your journey, but in a sense, wrapping this up by saying, what advice in the end do you think you'd give to other people? Especially, especially people who are young professionals, aspiring leaders, maybe earlier on in their careers, maybe not necessarily feeling like they're in a career, but, you know, in a company maybe where they want to make something of themselves. What's that?
Yeah. So my advice would be kind, first and foremost, to yourself. We all have a little bit of imposter syndrome, whether we're the chief exec or the newest employee. Be kind to yourself. Be curious. Don't wait for permission to lead. Seek forgiveness rather than ask permission in some instances. But actually, more than anything, find what lights you up. Find what gives you that passion and that fire in your belly, that what drives you every day, and use it to make a difference. But also, for me, leadership isn't about titles. It's not about that hierarchy. It's about the impact that you have, and the impact that you have on others, that actually, even in years to come when you're not working with them, they remember you as a leader for the positive things, not the negative things. And we've all got bad bosses that we can remember. And actually, I think if you care deeply about people and purpose in an organization, you will absolutely be able to lead with that level of compassion and empathy. But you've got to deeply care about people and purpose in terms of yourself and then those that you work with. So yeah, be curious.
And that means, as you say, Lisa, finding that thing you're passionate about, because that is almost where you get your food for the soul, and everybody's different. So, my passion is social mobility, it's opportunity. That's the food for my soul. And I think probably you as well.
Yeah,
Other people, it's something completely different. It might be something to do with planet. It might be something to do with, I don't know, whatever it is for
yeah.
them, but kind of steadily find what that is and then just thrive by doing more of that and finding a place to do it that, shares that same passion. I think that's probably the key to success, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, and I think the last thing is don't be disheartened by the bumps in the road in careers as well, because nobody has a linear career, and anybody that says that they do, they definitely don't. You are going to have those peaks and troughs. You are going to have those moments where you think, "How on earth have I got here?" And then others where you're going, "I'm going to get found out because I've not got all of these 10 skills to be able to do X, Y, and Z." But actually, just don't be so hard on yourself, because it isn't a linear career path.
Yeah, do your best and recognize that sometimes it's when things go wrong that you learn them. Anyway, I certainly,
Absolutely.
and I think it's been times when things haven't been going as well that I've really had to dig deep and kind of go back to square one, which was why was I doing this? Why did it matter to me? And in a sense, it almost reclarifies in those
Mhm.
times. I think you learn a lot more about yourself and, when things are tough
Yeah,
than when things are going right. And I think for imposter syndrome, it's just been out of your comfort zone, really, isn't it?
absolutely. Adversity builds resilience, definitely.
Well, look, we better let you go, Lisa. Thanks for the time today. So great having you and TP part of the Purpose Coalition. Love the discussion on AI as well. And I think we'll be returning to that as a Purpose Coalition over the coming weeks and months.
Mhm,
Time, Lisa Dolan, VP of Employee Engagement, Experience, sorry, TP, you kisser.
mhm.
Thank you very much for being on the podcast today.
You're very welcome. It was an absolute pleasure.